It's not uncommon these days to hear talk about entitlement and entitled students. A part of what excited me about some of the posts on Seminarium this week was what sounded to me anyway like a bit of a reveal on the sense of entitlement that faculty can also feel. I think we forget sometimes that we instructors were, by definition, the kinds of students who prosper in the system that we have risen in. So we have something of a built-in bias towards empathizing with students like us, students who rise to the top fairly easily and without needing a huge amount of assistance. Richard Newton wrote in Your Students Can Ace Critical Writing, and it has to do in part with helping students to craft really good paragraphs. And one of the things I like about Richard's post is it's acknowledging that making really good paragraphs and organizing them well together to craft a critical narrative, it's not something they can absorb just by trying harder. And it's not something mystical that defies definition. It's just something that takes us some time to teach it. We often say that someone should have taught them this before they get to us. And we're right, but what of it? Being right doesn't really make it so. Am I entitled to learners who already know how to construct strong critical paragraphs, or are my learners entitled to a few minutes of time that will lift the veil on a simple and powerful communications tool that nearly all of their coursework will presume that they already control? Jane S. Webster's post called "I Know It When I See It: Pedagogical Scaffolding," about grading rubrics and assessments. We've seen this, when an instructor assigns, say, a B+ to a paper, and the student has no real idea why it's a B+ rather than a B or an A-, and the instructor explains, "I just know a B+ paper. I know it. I know it when I see it." In conversation with another instructor, this teacher could probably articulate this in the kinds of words that might go into a well-constructed rubric that demystifies those expectations for the student before she attempts the work. Maybe that B signifies good enough but not great for this instructor, or that the relevant elements going into assessment include paragraph structure, close engagement with the course materials, doing all the parts of the assignment and not just some of them, and so on. But sharing that information with the student is risky because, so goes the fear, they might use that rubric as a negotiating tool to have their grade reassessed. And they should, because maybe I really did miss something when I thought I could grade 11 papers before bed at 11:45 at night instead of stopping with 7 papers as I should have. Am I entitled to offer intuitive, opaque assessments out of my private expertise, out of my gut? Or is the learner entitled to direct access to the assessment rubrics that will actually inform my grading? When I was looking at Tim Snyder's post, "The Second Naivete of Online Learning," it's called, it's about teaching in different environments than those in which we learned, especially online environments. As instructors, we all have a first naivete, a comfortable orientation as junior instructors in the by now familiar world of academia. And then we have some episodes of disorientation, resulting in a critical distancing from our craft. These episodes of disorientation might involve online learning, resistant students, anxieties around contract renewal or promotion or whatever. And nothing is more human than to feel that I should be spared such a disorientation, or that having been disoriented by these complications that fly in the face of my habitual understandings, that I should be allowed to retreat backward into those old understandings, those old safe understandings, rather than having to work forward into a new reorientation that assimilates these unforgiving experiences, these unforgiving facts, assimilating them into a new orientation toward my vocation as an instructor. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find links to the posts I just named, Richard Newton's, Jane Webster's, and Timothy Snyder's, in the description section of this video.